So I finished Ascend, the final book in the trilogy, and it, again, has a pretty good cover. Just check this out. This is very pretty. So, my thoughts on this are pretty much the same as my thoughts when I finished the second book, and that's that it's pretty solid, it's pretty good. I thought most of the interpersonal relationships were enjoyable. I just feel like it needed to be longer. This book needed to be at least 10% longer, and it needed to go into a lot more detail about certain aspects of the world and certain aspects of the characters and what's going on here. Because there are a lot of parts where characters will secondhand tell Wendy, the protagonist, about something horrible and violent that happened. Like there's a scene where the bad boy love interest talks about his traumatic past where his father killed his mother. And, that's obviously bad, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard if we're just hearing about it in one or two sentences. And there's multiple other parts that are like that in this book. And the climax is also really short and just doesn't have enough time to cook. It really needed to stay in the oven a little longer. We really needed to just have a bit more time where we really understand exactly how evil the villain is and we see firsthand some of the nasty stuff he does before we could, you know, feel triumphant with him being defeated. On top of that, it's clear that the author wanted a love triangle here, but I'm not sure which love triangle she wanted because at first it's Wendy, Tove, and Finn, but then in the second book, she seems to have decided she didn't really like Finn anymore and replaced him with Loki. So there's like kind of two separate but overlapping love triangles, and again, these books are pretty short, so they didn't really have time to dive into them. I would have preferred if they just stuck with one because her relationships with all three of those dudes individually are pretty good, but it just doesn't quite work when they're all being squeezed in here. That said, this was a solid trilogy. I'm not really into this genre overall, but this is an example of that genre done well. So good job.